This is Jack Harrison completing Unit 5, Injury in Sport. Task 4, Rules, Regulations and Legislations. So for P5 criteria, to describe 4 rules, regulations and legislations relating to health, safety and injury in sports participation. So Jack, can you tell me about your first legislation?
Health and safety at work.
Right, so what is that?
This is the main H&S legislation, sets out the general duties by employees, self-employed and those in control of the premises. Employees have responsibilities which they must follow, like taking care of their own H&S. Also others may be affected by their actions.
Right, so if you think about that act in relation to sport, how does it affect sport or link in with sport? How do you think it links in with sport? So what do you think? So what does the act do? What have you told me it does?
Sets out the general duties.
So how could that link to sport? Is anybody in sport, such as governing bodies, who set out duties like rules or all?
Yeah.
What?
Referees.
So who's in charge at referees?
The FA.
Good, so the FA, so then go on, tell me about that then, 'cause you know. So FA set the rules?
Yeah.
Go on, tell me.
Tell you
What the FA does?
It sets out the rules and regulations.
And then who puts them in place? You just told me.
Referees.
There you go. Right, next one.
Health and safety, first aid regulations. It's important for people being employed in sporting environments. The health and safety first aid regulations 1981 came into force in the UK on 1st of July 1982. The health and safety first aid regulations 1981 places duty on employers and the self-employed to make arrangements for first aid in the workplace. The health and safety first aid regulations further provides protection to workers should they become unwell or injured in all workplaces, including those with less than 5 employees. It requires that workers receive immediate attention in these circumstances.
Right, so health and safety at work, so how does that relate to sport, the first aid regulations? So there's a big clue there for you, first aid regulations, how does it link to sport?
Because obviously you need first aid in sport, because if someone's injured, you need to help them. And
so what does the first aid need?
First aid pack.
Right, and does it be qualified?
Yeah.
Right, next one.
COSH 2002. It requires employees.
So what does COSH stand for? Control of
substances.
Hazardous. Controlled substances hazardous to. Hazardous to what? Begins with a H. COSH. What do you think? Controlled substances.
Health.
So what does COSH stand for?
Pardon?
What does COSH stand for?
It requires employees.
No, what does COSH stand for?
What do you mean?
What does it, the word COSH, what does it stand for?
Don't know.
You just control.
I forgot.
You've just told me, what does it stand for?
Control of substances hazardous to health.
Right, there you go.
It requires employers to control exposure to health from hazardous substances to protect employers and the people who might be exposed from work activities. The employers must be aware of what hazardous substances are used in the workplace and also the risk to health. Hazardous substances are used in many workplaces and take many different forms: solids, liquids, mist and fumes can be present in the workplace. This affects our eye contact, inhalation, swallowing and skin contact.
Right, so how does that link to sport then, Kosh? Was there any examples that you can give me where you need to control substances what are hazardous to health? Any maybe talked about in class? Swimming pools?
No.
Nothing to do with swimming pools, what we've discussed in class?
Or, I forgot what it's called. The thing what's in the swimming pool.
Chlorine?
Chlorine, that's one.
So what about it?
That can like damage your eye contact. You're not supposed to swallow it.
So what do you need to do to make sure that that doesn't happen?
You need to make sure you basically don't open your mouth.
Yeah, right, but it's Kosh, so relating to Kosh, what do you need to do with chlorine to make sure that you don't get affected by it?
Maybe put less in.
No, so what does Kosh stand for?
Control substances.
So what do you need to do with the chlorine?
Control.
By doing what?
Chlorine.
So by doing what with the chlorine, how do you need to store it? Can you just leave it at the side of the pool? So what do you need to do?
Put it back.
Where?
Don't know.
Well, can you just leave it at the side of the pool?
No, obviously not.
So where do you need to put it then?
In the pool.
No, when you're not using it, where do you put it? The container, what it's in, where do you put it?
In a cupboard where. Or.
So you're in a cupboard, but what, anybody can access, or?
No, just where staff can access.
So it needs to be what?
Locked.
Right. Right, next one.
The Children Act 2004. It places a duty on services to ensure every child, whatever their circumstances, has the support they need to be healthy, stay safe, enjoy and achieve through learning, make a positive contribution to society and achieve economic well-being. Children participate in sport in so many different environments, such as summer schools, after-school clubs and coaching sessions.
Right, so young children take part in coaching sessions. Who delivers them coaching sessions?
Head coach, like
Sports coaches.
sports coaches, yeah.
Right, is there anything the sports coaches need to have done before they can deliver the sessions?
Yeah, do it at FA level.
No, I'm not talking about football. Just
They need to be qualified.
so, but even if they haven't got qualifications, they ought that they need to have before, so they know they can work with children.
ID.
So ID, but what do they need to have done to make sure that they're safe to work with children?
CIB check.
CRB check, good. What else? What other checks? Who else needs to check them out?
Police.
Right. So why do you need CRB checks and police checks then if you're gonna work with children?
Because if you're not being checked, you need safe to work.
So is it a legal requirement that you get checked?